Hey everyone, thanks for checking in with me again this week. You're watching In Deep on the Delta, and this is the In Deep on the Delta weekly Delta fishing report for April 15th. I'd like to start off by thanking all the contributors that sent in their reports this week. I'd also like to thank Outdoor Sportsman and Hook, Line, and Sinker for their reports. With that, we're going to get right into the striper report, and I'd like to start off by saying we're going to welcome Jeff Soo Hoo from Soo Hoo Sportfishing, and Jeff is a full-time guide, striper guide out on the Delta, and he is going to be checking in with us weekly to give his 2 cents on what's going on. So as far as what Jeff's been doing, he's been fishing out by Antioch. He's been doing very well. The big fish up to 20 pounds this week. They're not all 20 pounds, but he's reporting good numbers of fish, and he's also saying that the males are full of milk, so they're getting really ready to get into that final stage of spawning. So let's hope the stripers have a good spawn this year. Jeff has been catching his fish trolling. He's dropping his baits down from 4 to 15 feet of depth, and that's been the magic depth for him. He also says that the changing tide is when you want to be out there. That's when the fish are biting. So that is the report from Jeff Soo Hoo from Soo Hoo Sportfishing, and I'm going to put his information in the remarks. The shops have also been reporting that there's been good striper fishing, and a lot of the fish are being caught early and late on top waters. The other situation that you have out there is maybe fishing the McCollum, and I've noticed when I've been in the McCollum, I've caught a lot of stripers just throwing a white chatterbait. I know my son Nate was out at Georgiana Slough doing some trolling and live bait fishing. He did very well. I've also seen a lot of trollers in the area of the mouth of the McCollum, right at the channel, up and down the channel for a mile or two, and they've been in there pretty hard for the last week or two, and that's a good indication that there's a lot of fish in there. So if you're just coming out for the day, I'd say head over to the McCollum, fish around that area, and you're probably going to catch some fish. That will get into the largemouth bass situation, and again, that's going, it's getting stronger and stronger. Let's start off with the water conditions, and this week I'll break water conditions, at least as far as visibility go, into north and south, and we're going to use the channel as the divider. Everything north of the channel, the main channel, is what we'll call the north. Everything south, we'll call it the south. Up in the north, very good water visibility up by McCollum, Sycamore, Hog, Beaver. You've got 8 to maybe 10 or 12 feet of visibility. Now, as you get south of the channel, the visibility drops down around Tracy. Some guys are reporting 2 and 3 feet of water visibility, and mostly there's probably going to be maybe 3 to 5 feet of visibility. With that being said, the fish that are easier to catch are in that stained water. So if you're coming out this weekend, instead of breaking the Delta into running east and west, go north and south, using the channel as your indicator of where the stained water is going to be. Water temperatures this week, by the time the weekend comes, water temperatures will be approaching 70 degrees. Prime spawning time, although don't expect to find a lot of fish locked onto beds. Now, maybe by this weekend they will be locked onto beds, but I'm thinking the prime time to find fish that are locked onto the beds is going to be in a week or two when we have the new full moon. There are a lot of males up shallow, and the females are cruising along in there, but they're really not locked on the bed. So one suggestion that I would make is if you're coming out, you haven't been out here for a week or so, don't spend a lot of time in either real shallow water or real deep water. There's a lot of transitional fish. So if water clarity allows you to go in and check for beds, go in and check for the beds, but don't put all your eggs in that basket. If you're not seeing a lot of the big fish in there, you're getting a lot of fish, you're not seeing fish locked onto them, move out to the transitional zones and the flats and work the whole water depth range from anywhere from 2 to 10 feet deep. The prime baits this week have been, again, worms, and it doesn't matter how you're fishing them as long as you're fishing them slow. So you can fish T-rigs, drop shots, weightless wacky, Nico, however you're fishing them. Just make sure you're fishing them real slow. Red and black laminate worms have been working. I've been catching a few fish on crawdad color worms, something with a little orange in them. And then your green punk and red flake watermelons, red flake. All the standard colors are working well. Just fish them slow. As far as the reaction baits go, there's been a big increase on a lot of reports saying that they're getting fish on jerk baits. 3 or 4 weeks ago, a lot of fish on jerk baits, and then got no reports. Just this last week, the jerk bait bite has picked up. Also, the spinnerbait bite. Spinnerbaits in black and red are doing really well. Chatterbait bite has dropped off a little bit, and I noticed that myself. I've been fishing them hard. I've been getting a few fish, but they're not really on a solid chatterbait bite. Now, one suggestion that I may make as far as when you're going to use the worms and when you're going to use the reaction baits is that if you're out here on a day when it's flat, calm, use the worms, do a little punching, slow down. If the wind picks up and you've got one of those really breezy days, get into your reaction baits. And again, the best reaction baits in the last week have been jerk baits and not so much crankbaits. I know people are out there using them. I haven't got a lot of reports where people are catching fish on crankbaits or square bill. So it's going to be jerk baits, spinner baits, and chatterbaits. Also, you want to start throwing some topwaters. I've got some nice fish on smaller walking baits and poppers. I'm talking about rovers, ricos, spooks, sammies, the bubble walkers, and I'm fishing them slow and erratically, and most of the fish are taking them when the bait is stopped, so you're not working them really quick. Now, as the water approaches 72, 74 degrees, I think we're going to get a better bite on the plopper style baits. Not too much of a bite so far on buzz baits, but as that water gets to 72, 74, they're going to start hitting those fast moving baits a lot more. So keep that in mind. With that, I can say that everything is on an upswing, both the stripers and the largemouth. Don't expect the fishing to be easy. It just hasn't been easy, and I'm trying to give information for the common guy out there, because I know the last few weeks we've got a lot of reports from the tournaments that guys are catching big bags, but on my day-to-day experience talking to people at the dock and that are on the water, they've had some pretty tough fishing. Although it's getting better and better, it's still not easy fishing. So I'd like to make one congratulations before I sign off, and that's to Jason. Jason, common guy, he's got a 40-hour-a-week job, went out 3 or 4 months ago, bought himself a tracker bass boat, and last week, he's starting to catch fish, and he's really happy. He's got his personal best last week, which is a little over 5 pounds, and you're looking at the picture now, and he's starting to get more and more consistent. Jason's the average guy out there. So if Jason's catching fish, I think everybody can go out there and expect to have a pretty good day on the water. With that, make sure you're sending me the reports if you're out there. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And until next week, I'll see you on the water. Thanks again for watching.